Welcome back. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Had to wear this. And since we've last spoken, Liverpool have been on a rampage. Um, 6-3 against Tottenham, 3-1 against Leicester, 5-0 versus West Ham. I think I've got a song coming on. Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Jingle
Oh,
bellend,
what fun it is to watch Liverpool win away. Hey.
jingle bellend.
Oh, God almighty.
Oh God, we
But
got a half a season of this, George.
but the thing is,
You forget how unbearable the Scousers are until they start winning, don't you? And then it ramps up.
but there was there was a point where Chelsea could have gone top, right? If they'd beaten
Yeah, it
Everton,
didn't.
I know,
I'll find out the reason why, Killen.
go for it.
So when Arsenal were going for it to stop Liverpool, I was like, "Come on, Arsenal!" I cursed them. When Arsenal fell away, I started to say, "Come on, Chelsea." Since then, Chelsea have struggled. United being United, I support them. I think I'm the curse. I think I'm the curse. That's why I'm not going to say anything to Forest. I'm just. I know.
Forest is mental.
I'm going to start saying, "Come on, Liverpool." So may my backing them begin on Sunday. But
You might have to. You might have to. But
dude, it's
talking
Liverpool are a
Yeah.
machine at the moment.
talking
Like
of
they
talking of
are.
Chelsea, but the thing is, there was a point where they would have gone top, even if it was for 24 hours. It's still putting pressure
Yeah.
on Liverpool. Drew 0-0 against Everton, and Everton have had a good set of draws, right? Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City,
Forest beat them.
and then Chelsea, then Ipswich losing 2-0, and now
And Fulham.
second, and Fulham, yeah, and second spot going. And I know, George, you've said
Yeah.
you were never in the title race, and I still think you are.
Yeah.
But I know you're still saying
No, no, no.
what
No.
what
I
is
don't think
what is happening?
anybody's in the title
No.
race. I mean, at the
No,
moment,
this is exactly what we were always going to have a dip, and it's come. It's just so frustrating. It's come when we've looked good, we were playing well, and then the Everton game. I mean, 0-0 away at Everton. It happens. Could have maybe had a penalty. I don't know if you saw the Pickford challenge. It's one of those. I think it should have been a penalty. VAR didn't overturn it. Fulham game, we miss our chances. We get punished. And we weren't good enough. In the second half, we just weren't good enough in that Fulham game. We looked cagey. We looked nervous. And once Fulham equalised, it only really looked like Fulham were going to score. We kind of just went into ourselves. And fucking Sanchez just useless clearance up the field. Half the players are offside. Nobody tracks back. They counter and score. The Ipswich game, that penalty was a fucking joke. That was never a penalty. Like, what is the point in having VAR if it's not going to step in and overturn blatant dives? It's just ridiculous. And then we miss a load of chances, and Disassi sets them up for a goal. So, like, pretty bleak Christmas in terms of football for Chelsea. Um,
great point for
but we just got
Ipswich.
to come back from it. We just got to come back
Great,
from it. I mean,
George. Great point for Ipswich, though. You know, there's
yeah, not interested in talking about that.
getting a few results though. They,
I know,
let's.
yeah, but they look they're, they're not a bad team, but we should be beating Ipswich. They haven't won it in the Premier
Yeah,
League at home since
absolutely.
2002, and
You're
it's just not good enough to not get
But
a result there.
George, this is the thing with having a young team, right? Your consistency is the hardest thing for a young team.
Yeah,
Like you've seen some really great moments. Like you've said, they're going to have dips. So it's how long the dip lasts. That
yeah,
essentially. So I think some incredible progress has been made this year. The
mm.
problem is, and if you think about Chelsea last season, um, you're and we're only halfway through. Your good forms come early. Now, if you flip it the other way, like you have a bad start
yeah,
and then a good end, suddenly the season doesn't look so bad, right? But
yeah.
start of the season, you are now. You would have taken this.
Oh yeah, of course you would.
The football you've played as well, everything,
Yeah,
the progress made in the the approach to play. I think you guys have had a fantastic first half of the season.
yeah, and that's what we've got to keep telling ourselves. But it doesn't make this dip.
Yeah, of course.
Things were getting good. Things were getting really good, and then the Everton game, you kind of take that 0-0 away at Everton. You don't mind too much about that, but then the two defeats either side, well, just after Christmas and then just before New Year. It's just they're games we shouldn't be losing. We never lose to Fulham at home.
Yeah.
So they were really frustrating games. And I mean, as you said, it's a young team, and this is exactly why the whole team, Maresca was saying we're not in a title race, because this is what can happen with this young team. We don't take our chances, not clinical enough, and we get punished. And it literally feels like that every time the team goes up the other end in the past two games, they're going to score. That's just how it feels at the minute. And there's frailties defensively. Fafana being out hasn't helped, because I think Tosin is shaky. And Fafana was playing pretty good before that. So, look, James being on the bench yesterday, how many times does he come back and get injured? But let's hope he can come back in.
He's your Luke Shaw, right?
Yeah, we just need him in, because Gusto's not been quite out this season. If we can get James one side, Cucurella the other, with Colwill and hopefully Fafana back, we don't really know how long he's out for. I'll feel more comfortable. But a couple of injuries, Lavia being out as well, it's frustrating. But as you say, got to take the positives. Still top four. We've got Palace away. We need to go there and correct what's been happening. We don't have the easiest fixtures coming up, I don't think, but we've got to turn this form around ultimately.
And you were talking about a bleak Christmas. Forget a bleak Christmas. How about a bleak December for Man United?
Taking an hammer in.
I don't think you're clawing back. I think you're trying to claw yourself up.
You're doing what? We were saying Wolves were burrowing down. Yeah. Wolves are climbing up, and United are burrowing down as far as they can.
Oh, so much so that after the Newcastle defeat at home, Amorim turned around and said, "We might get relegated." It's been 50 years since last happened, and I think, is he just covering his back to go in case I told you
Look
some
at
kind of thing.
Killy's face.
Today, guys, is a really painful day. Watching it last night, like it wasn't that we were bad. It was we were just so non-competitive. It was like watching teams from different leagues, like divisions, right? And I understand everything he's trying to do. I'm not going to criticize him. I still think it's too early. I know it's a nightmare run and everything. I'm always more of a support the manager, so I'm not going to start all that. I've seen a few things online, which is ridiculous. But like the decision to play Casemiro and Eriksen together is
how
nuts.
are you ever going to win a game in the Premier League these days with those midfielders?
Decision to play Xerxes, who has proven time and time again he's just not a Premier League player. Like, I don't like to criticize players to this level, but I think the fans' reaction when he got subbed, the cheer that went up, as harsh as it is just evidence of what we're seeing, right? It's unfair on him. I think it's been unfair on him to put him in the position. Like, you feel sorry for the guy.
You've just been done. It's a bad signing.
On top of
he should
how
be
many?
taken out of the spotlight. But he shouldn't be playing.
He just shouldn't be. That's what I mean. It's unfair on him to be put into that position.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's going to say no. But it's just unfair on him, and
I just can't believe. I just can't believe how I thought Amorim would come in. He'd bring a style of play, which, I mean, he is obviously trying to do. He's changed the formation, he's changed the setup, but I thought you would at least look a little bit more solid. And he with the back three. I mean, he's playing about three now, and you've got two wing backs, so you should be more solid. But you're not. You're also arguably even worse defensively.
I mean, last night they got caught ball watching so many times. Like, you've got an extra person, one of you. Come on. So I think, I mean, there's so much going wrong at the moment. Our next two fixtures are, by the way, that was quality in the background, George. I was expecting a little child to come running in like that as well. No, but it's so bad. And next two fixtures are Liverpool away and Arsenal away. These should not be televised because that level of torture and abuse should not be broadcast. You know, it will be like one of the Saw movies. It's just going to be gory.
Yeah, but you know what you'll be doing going into the game. You'll be thinking, God, we could get a result though, couldn't we? There's a chance.
It's the hope that kills you, right, George? It's the hope that kills you.
But the thing is, they did that at Man City, right? And I appreciate.
Yeah, but
Man City are a different
their own
beast,
patch, aren't they? And United,
Man City are a different beast to Liverpool, especially, and Arsenal. Man City just aren't at it, whereas Liverpool are bang at it, and Arsenal look like. I mean, Arsenal again, still not good going forward, but so solid defensively. And United, I just can't see how United are going to score in that game.
But United cannot see it. You don't need to be great or good to beat them. You just most of the time you just need to turn up. City didn't turn up for 6 minutes, and we beat them, right? And it is. I'm speechless at what I'm seeing today. But here we go. When Fergie first came.
Oh, okay. Mute him.
I want to hear it.
When Fergie first came, we struggled. You know, there were people calling for the sack.
You said this with Ten Hag.
I was about to say that.
For 5 years, Ferguson didn't win anything. We've got to give Ten Hag time. And then Amarin's coming. Look, the manager was bad with Amarin.
George, it's either I believe that, or I think.
Yeah, but this is the cycle.
Mourinho has sent Amarin on a revenge mission to get us relegated.
It's the cycle starting all over again.
Doesn't it prove that Ragnick was absolutely spot on? Which I didn't
100%.
disagree with him at the time.
But what you did say was that the players there are decent enough. And me and Pierce were saying that we're not sure. We don't think the manager's good, for starters. And it wasn't helped because he kept him in the summer and he signed his players who are terrible again. But it's also the players. The whole squad needs ripping apart. You look at that team, I think it is so bad. It's the fact that Casemiro and Eriksen can start for you in midfield is atrocious.
Yeah.
What's happened to Kobe Mainoo as well? He's dropped off a cliff.
Well, he dropped him. He came on. He played well. If anything, the only positive thing to come out of yesterday was Kobe Mainoo playing well, right? So,
how's he starting, Casemiro? I mean, I hope this is an Amarin because I thought he was a really good manager, but so far I've not been impressed whatsoever. And I think a lot of that's down to the squad, but he should be having a better impact than he is at the minute.
So far, the only difference I'm seeing is Amarin knows how to manage media. That's the only difference I'm seeing. He's a lot more media friendly than Ten Hag.
I know you guys are talking about the manager and Ten Hag, Amarin, etc. But surely it's also the squad, right? It's also the team.
No, it's all the squad. Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This many managers can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And Gary Neville said it, and I agree with him. It's been a graveyard for players.
Yeah.
Right. If I mean, I'm a United fan, so I'm different. But other than money, why would you sign for United? It's destroyed. How many careers has it destroyed?
If you're offered any of the big teams, other than maybe Spurs, same money, you would go to probably any of the other big six teams because you can see where they're heading. You can see the direction they're trying to go in. Maybe not City, but City. So you know they'll get good again. But with United, I honestly, I thought Amarin would come in and you'd be so much. I just baffled at how bad you still look. And it is, how many points above relegation are you? 7. Like that.
That's relegation battle.
Yeah, you're going to have to start picking up points somewhere because, I mean, Ipswich got 3 points. They look like they could get a few more points. I mean, Leicester have gone off the boil again. I mean, you won't go down because you do still have players that are too good to go down, but you have to improve.
Can I? I mean, going down would help get rid of half the squad, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but what a story it will be, right? I mean, I'm just talking. I'm trying to speak as a non-United fan. I obviously am a United, but what a story that would be.
Is that
That would be
your way
insane.
of trying to get Fergie back?
No, it's not even getting Fergie back, right? It's just, oh my goodness, it would be bigger than Leicester
Oh
winning the
well,
league.
the biggest team in England getting relegated would just be mental. It'd be like Madrid going down in Spain.
Yeah,
Like, could
yeah.
you imagine that? It's just not. You can't possibly think it could ever happen. So here you go. If you do go down, are you still going to want to give Amarin time, or are you going to get him out?
That's the question. Wow. The fact, if I'm honest, I don't know, right? I don't know. You know, I'm loyal to the core, George. I'm loyal. Loyalty is high on my list. Wow. I just don't know. I mean, I've been.
You
I
would
am.
consider keeping him.
I am celebrating today being off the drink for a year, but I think
Congrats.
I think I'd be back on it pretty quick. You know, I think I'll definitely need a therapist.
Yeah.
But oh god, I don't even want to think about it. Like it's. But the strange thing is, I am flirting with the idea of, oh my god, it could happen. Nobody's too big to go down, right?
It won't happen. It won't happen. But
It
as you
won't
say,
happen.
it would be a hell of a
Yeah,
story.
it's like George said. You've got too many big players that will pull you out of that. There's no way.
Yeah.
And the teams below you are a lot of shitter, right? And
Well, you know what
Yeah.
I say? The league never lies. So at the moment, yeah. But at the end of the season, let's see how close we are. I think this, you know, it's the United story. This summer is going to be huge. But I
You
don't
know
think
where?
in terms of signings, I think in terms of clear out, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
huge.
You know where you are in a very similar position to was Chelsea in the 22-23, so not last year, year
Yeah.
before, where we had so many players on the books that needed moving on. We had signed a whole load of new players in the summer who weren't delivering, like so Koulibaly, Aubameyang, Sterling, Cucurella at the time wasn't doing very well. And we just needed a complete rebuild. In January, we signed a fuckload of players who there were too many players in the squad and it was a disaster. We had such a bad season. We were just losing game after game after game,
Yeah.
edging further and further towards
Yeah.
relegation. And people were saying at the time, imagine Chelsea go down. You're in the same place where we were. You need to strip the squad like we've done, sign new exciting players that suit the sort of football you want to play going forward, not necessarily suit the manager. The board need to have an idea in their head where they want to be in 5 years' time, what sort of football they want to be playing, and they need to back that. They can't.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where you sign players for managers. You sign players because of the quality and the style of football you want to play, and you appoint a manager to suit
To fit that approach.
that squad.
So,
Yeah.
So George, it's funny you say that because I've been listening and taking on board what I'm reading, listening to radio voice.
Of course.
And what I've heard is that United didn't get Amarin in the summer because his style of play didn't fit the players, right? So that's one of the reasons they decided to stick with Ten Hag. 10 games in, or whatever, they then get Amarin when he's got no time to sign players, and it's his style of play, because he's come in and said, I'm going to play my way, this is a way, blah blah blah. Credit to him. But if he wasn't the right guy in the summer,
yeah,
and I still hope he'll turn out good, but that decision now is, should I say, coming home to roost. You know, it just tells
maybe
you.
They were right.
I'm not going to be one of these United fans who's going to blame Ineos, who blame the managers. I'm blaming the players at the moment. But this,
and Ineos, because they're responsible for that.
This doesn't bode well so far. Like Ineos haven't been better than Glaziers.
No.
All I've got to say here then for Cully, it's on to 2025. Thank you very much, guys.